The last time we talked about King Asa. Now, you may remember what I had told you about the kings in Israel. You start off with the non-elect king, so the king of Israel, and you go through his reign until he dies. And then while the other king is ruling, you keep on going in the northern kingdom until the other king dies. And then when the king in the south dies, then you go to the north and you flip back and forth. So last week we looked at King Asa. He reigned 41 years. And you remember we talked about him and how he started off really well, but he had problems at the end. In Kings, he's portrayed as good because you look at the whole picture in comparison to other kings. In Chronicles, he's portrayed badly because he forgot to obey God. He was so successful, it was damaging. So now we want to look at the kings of the northern kingdom who ruled while Asa was king. And so turn with me to 1 Kings chapter 15. Do you remember who the first king of the northern kingdom is? Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Okay, and he died. And then kings talked about Rehoboam and Abijah and Asa. That's in 1 Kings 14 and 15. In the middle of 1 Kings 15, Asa dies. And now the attention is turned to the northern kingdom. And the king that is talked about is Jeroboam's son. His name is Nadab. Okay, Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, this is verse 25, became king of Israel in the second year of Asa, the king of Judah. And he reigned over Israel for 2 years. Notice how he's evaluated. He did evil in the, okay, he did evil in the sight of the Lord, in the eyes of the Lord, walking in the ways of his father and in his son, which he had caused Israel to commit. Did you notice the two things that are said about him? He did evil on this side of the Lord, not good. And the evil has two parts to it. Did you see that? He walked in the ways of his father, so he was not a moral person. He was not interested in following God. He was interested in himself. And do you see the second thing? And in his sin, which he had caused Israel to commit. Do you remember what the sin of Jeroboam is? The two calves. So he was not interested in doing the right thing. And when he was religious, it was on his terms. He was not interested in following after God. But did you notice that's not all that is said about him? Did you see what it says? Which he caused Israel to commit. So he is responsible for the sins of Israel. And I think that's something that we have to think about. when we are not moral people and when we worship the way we want to, people will follow us. And when they follow us and do the wrong things, it's not just their fault, it's our fault too. He didn't last very long, 2 years. You know, what can you say about him? Not good. You may say, well, when did he reign? Well, he reigned from 910 to about 909. His reign ended when he was murdered. And you say,
Ali, wo bist du? Welches Kapitel?
this is 1 Kings
Oh, First King
chapter 15,
15.
verse 25 and 26.
Aha, nee, da bin
Okay. So how was he murdered? Well, look at verse 27. And Baasha, the son of Ahijah, of the house of Issachar, plotted against him and struck him down at Gibbethon, a Philistine town, while Nadab and all of Israel were besieging it. So they went to attack the Philistines, and while they were attacking Philistines, Baasha murdered the king, and he became king in his place. Now notice what Baasha did. As soon as he began to reign, he killed all of Jeroboam's family. He did not leave Jeroboam anyone that breathed, but destroyed them all. Why? According to the word the Lord had given through his servant Ahijah the Shiloite, because of the sins of that Jeroboam had committed and caused Israel to commit, and because he provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger. And the other events of Nadab's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? And there was war between Asa and Baasha, the king of Israel, throughout their reigns. So before we go to the next person, let me let them in. Let Chris in. Before we leave, Nadab, tell me what you think about him.
There's not much information.
Yeah.
Was a bad king.
Bad king.
Yeah.
Really bad king. Did you notice he was strong enough to fight against the Philistines? So he was a little bit successful. But when it really counted, he was a failure. And because he caused Israel to commit sin, God removed him. Well, first dynasty of the northern kingdom is over. Jeroboam and Nadab, 2 generations, they are removed. Well, what about the second dynasty? Well, you noticed Baasha became king. Now notice what it says about Baasha. In the 3rd year of Asa, the king of Judah, Baasha, the son of Ahijah, became king over all of Israel in Tisra. That is their capital. And he reigned 24 years. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, walking in the ways of Jeroboam and in his sin, which he caused Israel to commit.
24 years, my goodness.
Well, I want you to notice two things. Did you notice Nadab reigned 2 years, right? See that? Now look at verse 33. And in the 3rd year of Asa, the king of Judah, Baasha became king. So it fits, right? Did you see that? In the 2nd year of Asa, the king of Judah, Nadab became king, and he reigned for 2 years. And then look what it says. In the 3rd year of Asa, Baasha became king. Doesn't fit. 2nd year of Asa plus 2 years should be the 4th year, right? But look what it says. It says in the 3rd year. You see that? You see, everybody see that? And you say, don't they know how to count? Well, it depends on how you count. Do you count the whole year? Do you count from January 1st to December 31st as 1 year? Or do you count from December 25th, I become king on December 25th, through December 31st, and then January 1st is my 2nd year. You see that? So it has to do with the way you count. It doesn't have to do that they made a mistake. It just has to do with the way you count the reign. Okay? So when you go through this, it always fits. So notice what it says. Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha. I lifted you up from the dust and made you the leader of my people Israel. But you have walked in the ways of Jeroboam and caused my people Israel to sin and to provoke me to anger by my sin. So I am about to consume Baasha and his house, and I will make your house like that of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Dogs will eat those belonging to Baasha who will die in the city, and the birds of the air will feed on them who die in the country. So, God's going to judge them. As for the other events of Baasha's reign, what he did and his achievements, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? And Baasha rested with his fathers and was buried in Tisra. And Elah, his son, succeeded him as king. Moreover, the word of the Lord came through the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, to Baasha and his house, because of all the evil he had done in the eyes of the Lord, provoking him to anger by the things he did, and becoming like the house of Jeroboam, and also because he destroyed it. So what does the prophet say? You destroyed Nadab. That was not good. To remove the king is one thing. To kill everybody. Did you notice what it said? He didn't leave anybody from the house of Jeroboam that breathed. So men, women, boys and girls, animals, everything. Not okay. And the second thing against him, he continued in the sin of Jeroboam. Now let's think about that for a minute. He is supposed to remove the house of Jeroboam because of the sin that Jeroboam committed. Right? That's what the prophet said.
But obviously he doesn't realize he's doing the same thing.
Well, I think he realizes it. And he says, I'm going to do what I want to. You know, when I was younger, I was like 4 years old. My grandmother told me, don't do this. And you know what my response was? Don't you tell me what to do. This is not your house. This is my house. Don't you tell me what to do. That was not real good, was it? She was a lot older than I was. I was 4 years old. I didn't know what to do. But isn't that the way we are with God? Don't you
Unfortunately.
tell me what to do. I know what's best. Baasha reigned. Did you notice how gracious God is? He reigned for 24 years. 24 years, God was gracious and allowed the sin to continue. And you say, well, why does he allow the sin to continue? Because he wanted him to come to repentance. God not only gave him a prophet at the beginning, he also gave him a prophet and confronted Baasha and reminded him that he was a nobody. God made him king. But Baasha rejected the prophet
So did
and said, I'm going to do what I want to. What do you think about Baasha?
bad king.
Bad king. Not somebody that you want to follow. Bad king.
Plus he is a murderer.
Murderer.
And he caused his people to sin.
And he calls his people to sin. So again, he's not only morally bad, but he's the one who leads the people of God away.
But how can he do that? I mean,
Well, the king is responsible for keeping the people close to God, making
isn't that the
sure
priests?
the priests and the king, they're responsible. And in kings, what we see is the way the king is, that's the way the people are.
Mhm.
When the king is good, the people
Yes.
turn back to God. When the king is bad, the people turn away from God.
So it's not like he made them worship the idols and or I mean, do we know what they did?
Well, what he should have done is burn those calves.
Okay.
That's what he should have done.
Yeah,
He
and
should have said, we're not going to do this. We're going to go down to Jerusalem to worship.
Mm.
And what did he do? He went and worshiped at the calves. And he made it difficult for people to go to worship in Jerusalem. And why? Because there's war between Asa and Baasha.
Mm-hmm.
So he only looked at what is good for him.
But shouldn't Jehu have told the people also that they're not, I mean, wouldn't Jehu also be responsible?
Well, I would say Jehu told, well, notice what it says in verse 7. The word of the Lord came through the prophet Jehu to whom?
Okay. To Baasha and his
To
house.
Baasha. Whether Jehu preached to the people or not, I don't know. I can't say.
Mm.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the emphasis is God gave Baasha 2 times a message. God showed his grace by making him king. And Baasha said, "Don't you tell me what to do." That's not real good.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, did you notice what God said? The Lord will destroy Baasha's entire family. If they die in the city, they won't be buried and dogs will come and eat them. Not good. And if they flee and die in the country, the birds of the air will eat them. There's going to be no burial, no memorial service, no honoring them. Why? He's a bad king. But he died of a natural cause. That's in the northern kingdom. That is not often the case. Jeroboam the first died of a natural cause. Baasha died of a natural cause. Look at the next king. His son becomes king. In the 26th year of Asa, the king of Judah, Elah, the son of Baasha, became king of Israel. And he reigned in Tisra 2 years. Zimri, one of his officers, who had command of half of his chariots, plotted against him. And Elah was in Tisra at the time, getting drunk in the house of Arzah, the man in charge of the palace at Tisra. And Zimri came in and struck him down and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, the king of Judah. And he succeeded him as king. Well, what do we know about Elah? Look at what it says about Elah. What do you know about Elah?
He only reigned 2 years and then he was
He's
killed.
reigned 2 years. And how was he murdered?
He was drunk.
He was drunk. You know, that's not a, can you imagine on your tombstone, "I was murdered while I was drunk"? Not real good. And look at verse 11. And as soon as Zimri began to reign and was seated on the throne, he killed all Baasha's whole family. He did not spare anyone, not the relatives and not the friends. So Zimri destroyed the whole family of Baasha in accordance with the word of the Lord spoken against Baasha through the prophet Jehu, because of all the sins Baasha and his son Elah had committed and caused Israel to commit, as they provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger through their worthless idols.
Yeah.
And as for the other events of Elah's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? So, did you notice 2 problems with with Elah? Drunk, he's a drunkard, and he's an idolater.
Mhm.
Did you notice there's something else that's added? And he caused Israel to commit these sins. Notice the next thing. So that they provoked the God of Israel to anger by his worthless idols. And that leads me to say something about God's anger. When we get angry, we kind of lose control, and then we kind of say and do things that we actually don't really want to do, right?
Mhm.
God's anger is the correct response to sin. It's measured out. What is just? It's tempered with grace. Did you notice the purpose of their idolatry? It's not just, we're just going to worship another God. They wanted to make God angry. Did you see that?
Mhm.
So that they provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger. And God says, you wanted to make me angry? You succeeded. That's why I'm going to remove you. Remove you and your whole family. Okay? So, Dolly, you had a question.
Yes, I'm not understanding. These people are just getting up and killing the king and becoming king themselves.
Mm-hmm.
W- wasn't there like a system where someone has to appoint them as a king, or is this tradition being lost? Because there is
Not
no
in the
mention
Northern
of.
Kingdom.
Ach so,
Not in the Northern Kingdom.
it was only
Did
the
you
south.
notice he was the commander of the chariots? So he had the backing of at least part of the army. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and that it's a power play. It's who has the most power, or to put it in our terms today, it's who has the most guns or the most army or the most
Mhm.
means to get rid of your enemy.
So they were not chosen by God,
Certainly
actually.
not.
Yes. That's why
Now,
they were
Baasha
ungodly.
was, Baasha
Mm.
was,
Okay.
God made him, chose him to be king. He was a nobody, and God made him king. Zimri, Zimri is probably Phoenician. That's a Phoenician name.
Also.
Okay. So now Zimri is king. And in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, Zimri reigned in Tisra 7 days. Did you notice how it's getting worse? And the army was camped by Gibbethon, a Philistine town. Did you notice the army's out fighting? Where is Elah? He's in his friend's house getting drunk. Not a good thing to do when you're fighting a war. And when the Israelites in the camp heard that Zimri had plotted against the king and murdered him, they said, we don't want Zimri to be king. We want our commander to be king. And they proclaimed Omri, the commander of the army, king over Israel that very day in the camp. So what do you have now? Two kings. Then Omri and all the Israelites with him withdrew from Gibbethon and lay siege to Tisra. Tisra is their capital. And when Zimri saw that the city was taken, why would the city be taken? Remember, he is over half of the chariots. And chariots and charioteers don't fight well when you're defending the city. When he saw the city was taken, notice what he did. He went into the citadel of the royal palace and set the palace on fire around him. So he died. If I can't be king over Tisra, nobody will be. And I will burn it to the ground. Notice verse 19. Because of the sins he had committed, doing evil in the eyes of the Lord, and walking in the ways of Jeroboam, and in the sin he had committed, and he had caused Israel to commit. Now, he didn't rule very long, did he? 7 days. And why is he judged? Because of the sin that he allowed. And as for the other events of Zimri's reign and the rebellion he carried out, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? Zimri fulfilled the Lord's judgment, but continued in the sins of people. When you look at Nadab and Baasha and Elah and Zimri, most of them reigned short. The longest one was what? 24 years. Everybody else was 2 years or 7 days. Only Baasha died of natural causes. Everybody else was murdered. So, Chris, help me out. Would you like to be king over the northern kingdom? Any of you like to be king over the northern kingdom?
No.
If you become king over the northern kingdom, you'll die. I would say, no, thank you. There's no way. There's not enough money in the world to make me king over the northern kingdom. Because you'll die. Well, he got burned up. He set the house. Well, whether he committed suicide and stabbed himself, but when you set your house on fire and you can't get out, does that count as suicide? Probably. But you see, even in the last hours, you see how selfish he is. He burns down the whole town. Now Omri becomes king. Now Omri is certainly a Phoenician. Notice what happens in chapter 16, verse 21. Omri, king of Israel. Then the people of Israel were split into 2 factions. Half supported Tibni, the son of Ginat, for king, and the other half supported Omri. So Omri killed Zimri, and the followers of Zimri say, we don't want Omri. And so there was civil war. And Omri's followers proved stronger than those of Tibni, the son of Ginat. And so Tibni died and Omri became king. So not good for Omri. Isn't that right? So civil war, everybody fighting each other.
Chaos.
It's chaos. And all this chaos is fueled by what? People who are selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I think it's true in kings. You disregard the first commandment, which they all do. All the other commandments fall too. So notice, in the 31st year of Asa, the king of Judah, Omri became king of Israel, and he reigned 12 years. 6 of them in Tisra. Now tell me, how was Tisra as a city? Burned to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good place to rule, is it? So he bought the hill of Samaria from Shemer for 2 talents of silver and built a city on this hill, calling it Samaria, after Samer, the name of the former owner of the hill. So one of the things he needed is a new city.
Is this the same as Judea and Samaria today?
Oh, Samaria. That becomes the name of the northern kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was started by Omri. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because Tisra was burned to the ground. Is that okay to make a new capital when your old capital is burned down? I think it's okay. No problem. I won't have any problem with that. But notice the evaluation of Omri. But Omri did evil in the eyes of the Lord and sinned more than those before him. Okay, let's wait just a minute. Were those who were before him really bad? Yes. Omri beats them all. He walked in the ways of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and in his sin, which he had caused Israel to commit, so that they provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger by their worthless idols. As for the other events of Omri's reign and what he did and the things he achieved, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? And Omri rested with his fathers and was buried in Samaria. And Ahab, his son, succeeded him as king. Before we leave Omri, let me tell you a little bit more about him. Did you notice he reigned 12 years? Did you notice what it said in verse 27? The things he achieved. He was militarily and economically a very successful king. You know what the Assyrians said about him? He ruled and built a city, and they called it the City of Ivory. He was successful. For the next about 100 years, the northern kingdom is known as the house of Omri. Even though the rulers are not always his descendants, they are known as the house of Omri. He was very successful.
Mhm.
He was strong and wealthy, and he was morally bankrupt.
Do you know where it says about his success?
Well, I know about his success from Assyrian inscriptions. I know about his success from there.
So, but not in the Bible?
Well, it's indicated in verse 27, the things he achieved.
Achieved. Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, because my sister's grandson is called Omri, and I was thinking, how can they name him Omri because he was such a bad king? So, I mean, I will ask them why they named him Omri, but maybe because he was successful, because now you're saying he's successful.
Well, look at verse 25. Notice what it says about him. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord and sinned more than all those before him. So all of those, Nadab, Baasha, Elah, Zimri, when you add up all their sins, Omri's sin is worse.
Hmm.
Would you say that is bad?
I wouldn't call my son Omri.
I mean, I wouldn't call my son Omri either. That would be like naming somebody Adolf Hitler. That's terrible. Now, maybe your sister didn't know, and I'm not
No, not my
saying,
sister, my grandson. So the
okay,
parents.
yeah, I'm not saying they shouldn't name him that. I'm just saying
I'm going to ask them.
I wouldn't name him that. Did you notice there's some other place that he was successful? He wanted to provoke the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger by their worthless idols. And he was successful. Now, we had a son who, I mean, he was just really, well, we have a son who was just really vivacious. And he would sing songs and he would make up rhymes. And his brother and his sister would say, "Stop!" And he would just keep on. And I'm not so sure whether he was trying to consciously irritate them or not, but he did. And Omri's goal in life was to irritate the Lord, the God of Israel. That's not good.
Do you think he did it on purpose?
I'm sure he did it on purpose.
Okay.
I'm
Maybe he
sure
was
he did it on purpose.
disappointed by God that he was, I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand where the priests went and all these people who would
All
advise
the
the
priests,
king.
all the priests, all the godly people, and all the priests went to the southern kingdom.
Yeah, so because of Jerusalem to worship there.
Because of Jerusalem. And remember, it said that by Rehoboam. Those people who feared God went to Jerusalem, went to
Yes,
Judah. They left their homes. They said, "We don't want this."
mm-hmm.
Verse 29. In the 38th year of Asa, the king of Judah, Ahab, the son of Omri, became king of Israel. And he reigned in Samaria over Israel for 22 years. Notice the evaluation, verse 30. Ahab, the son of Omri, did more evil in the eyes of the Lord than any of those before him. Okay, who are those who are before him? Jeroboam, Nadab, Baasha, Elah, Zimri, Omri.
Only. Yeah.
All of them, we would say, are terrible.
Mhm.
Pardon? Yes,
And God was
that's
patient with
right.
him for 22 years.
And God allowed him to rule for 22 years. If I had been God, I would have struck him dead on the day he was born. And you think it was bad with Omri? Ahab makes it worse. Now, Dolly, hate to say this. If I had to choose between Omri and Ahab as a name,
You just
I would
remember.
choose Omri because Ahab is worse.
Yes.
Now, notice what he says. He not only considered it a trivial thing to commit the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, but he also married Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Sidonians. And he began to serve Baal and worship him. Okay, now what do we have in Israel with the golden calf? They say, this is the Lord your God. It's a Canaanite image, but we're going to worship God. That's syncretism. Ahab says, we're going to get rid of the golden calves. Great idea. And we're going to replace them with Baal and Asherah. And we're going to do like the Sidonians, like they're Phoenicians. And he married Isabel or Jezebel.
Mhm.
That is not good. So he has a religious reform and it goes the wrong way. Notice verse 32. He set up an altar for Baal in the temple of Baal that he built in Samaria. So up to now, people has just been worshiping at the two golden calves and kind of wherever they wanted to. He makes an altar and a temple for Baal. He builds it at his own expense. And he also made an Asherah pole. And he did more to provoke the God of Israel, the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel before him. He wanted to irritate God. And you know what? He was successful. Notice verse 34. In Ahab's time, Hiel of Bethel rebuilt Jericho. Jericho has not been rebuilt during this whole time, from the time of Joshua till now. That's about 875, 74. 700 years not rebuilt. And he laid the foundation at the cost of his firstborn son, Abiram. And he set up its gates at the cost of his youngest son, Segub, in accordance with the word of the Lord spoken by Joshua, the son of Nun.
But who used to live in Jericho? It wasn't the
Pardon?
Israel. Who was living in Jericho?
It was burned to the ground. Nobody lived there.
So
And
they rebuilt it kind of
they
new.
rebuilt it.
Mm.
And God said, Joshua said, when you rebuild it, your family will die. And they did.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know about Hiel, what he knew, but he should have read Joshua. If you
This,
rebuild
mm,
Jericho, your children will die.
but this was 700 years beforehand, right?
700 years beforehand.
So maybe he didn't know.
Well, in German, you say what? Unwissenheit schützt vor Strafe nicht. I mean, God was very clear, and he just didn't know or ignored it. Now, would you say all these kings up to now are just really bad? Did you notice? With each one, it gets worse.
Mhm.
The book of Proverbs says this, where there is no vision, and that word means law, revelation of God, where people don't respect the revelation of God, their hair is messed up. Just, and it's not just their hair, it's their society. And you have a group of people who disregard God's law. And the result is it gets worse and worse and worse. Before we look at the next part, I need to tell you something about Ahab. Ahab was a really powerful and successful king. The Assyrians know him. They mention him by name. They talk about him being the son of Omri. They talk about him living in an ivory palace. Ahab is so powerful, he gets all the other kingdoms around him to join him in the fight against the Assyrians. And the Assyrians were like land pirates. They were just terrible. They were bloodthirsty. They would murder you. They would treat you terrible. They would cut off body parts. They would do all kinds of horrible things. And Ahab said, we have to stick together and fight off the Assyrians. And he led the coalition. And in 852, 3 years after he became king, he met the Assyrians at Carchemish, and he routed them. And he sent them back to Assyria. And Jehoshaphat was part of the coalition. He's the king in Judah. So Ahab was really, politically, economically speaking, successful. He was a really strong and successful king. But when it really counted, he failed. Now, I need to explain something to you before we can understand chapter 17. Now, this sounds terrible. I realize that. I know it is terrible, but you have to understand it in order to understand what happens next. Okay, Baal and Asherah and Astarte, they are fertility gods. And Baal is the male god, Asherah and Astarte are the female gods. And fertility, according to the Canaanites, comes when these two gods have intercourse with each other. And Baal's semen, when he has intercourse, comes out, and that's the rain. So when you go out walking in the rain, that's Baal's semen. That's terrible. And the when you plow up the dirt, that's the female anatomy that has sex. So the rain comes in to the vulva, and then you have crops. That is terrible. And that's what he led Israel to worship. That's why he built the temple of Baal. That's what he said. We want to get rid of these bulls. We're going to go all in with Baal. And you had religious prostitutes that were at the temple, both men and women, not just for men, but also for women. The females were called the holy women. The male prostitutes were called the dogs. And you say that is really, really bad. Do you remember what the law said? When you go into Canaan, kill them all. Don't leave one of them alive. Kill them all. Why? Because they will entice you to worship Baal. And we've seen that with Solomon, and we see it in the northern kingdom. We've seen it in the southern kingdom. And now we see it with Ahab. And things are just really, really, really bad. And God knows about it. Chapter 17, verse 1.
Before you go further, can I ask,
Sure.
do you know how this god looked like, this Baal god? Was it an animal, or do you know?
No, it was a man. Yeah, sometimes
Oh.
sometimes he portrays himself as a bull,
Okay.
but usually he's a man, and we have pictures of him. We have pictures of Astarte. We have pictures of Asherah.
And they're like women?
Well, Astarte and Asherah are women, yeah.
Oh, so. And what is this pole thing?
That's the place where you go to worship Asherah.
A place.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
place. They have a big pole that's supposed to be the penis of Baal.
Oh. And what are these trees that they worship? Because God always says, I don't, something under the trees, worship under the trees.
That's what they're doing.
So is it like trees?
Well, that
The
part of them are
poles?
trees, but Jeremiah talks about it being under on every hill and
Yeah,
under every green tree. So
yeah.
wherever you can find shade, that's where they were having sex to worship Baal.
So, mm,
It's terrible.
hmm
I mean, and you think our society is bad, okay? Can you imagine that?
I can't imagine this. It's
Well,
so crazy.
can you imagine starting up a church in Germany with let's follow the Lord Jesus, let's not
Mm,
sin? And right next door, your neighbor opens a Canaanite
mm,
church.
mm.
And you can come to worship, and we will do really immoral things. And whenever you give us money, we give you a Spendenbescheinigung. That church would go really well in Germany and in the US, wouldn't it? And it's terrible.
Weren't there any good people around who like said something? I mean, you know, so I mean, they've come such a wrong way, so far from God and the and the Tanakh.
Yes.
No, the Torah.
Yeah. And did you notice it started off with Solomon
Solomon, yes.
and it just got worse and worse and worse
Worse.
and worse.
Yes.
And even though God sent the prophets, they didn't listen.
Yeah, but there were not so many prophets like Samuel or like what do you call Nathan who always like preached to these kings, right? There are not so many of them anymore.
I would say there were more than enough.
Okay. Yeah, Jehu again was okay.
You want to know why I say that?
Hmm?
We've read this passage before. 2 Kings 17. Starting in verse 8. They worship other gods and follow the practices of the nations the Lord has driven out before them, as well as the practices that the kings of Israel had introduced. And the Israelites secretly did things against the Lord their God that were not right. From watchtower to fortified cities, they built for themselves high places in all of their towns. They set up sacred stones and Asherah poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. At every high place they burned incense, as the nations whom the Lord had driven out before them had done. They
Mm-hmm.
did wicked things that provoked the Lord to anger. They worshipped idols, though the Lord said, "You shall not do this." The Lord warned Israel and Judah through his prophets and seers, "Turn from your evil ways, observe my commandments and decrees,
Mm-hmm.
in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your fathers to obey, and that I had delivered to you through my servants the prophets." Verse 14.
But which chapter? Second Kings?
2 Kings
17.
chapter 17,
Oh,
verse
17.
14.
Okay.
Yes, but they would
But
not
they would
listen.
not listen.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. They rejected the decrees. They followed worthless idols.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 16. They forsook all the commandments of the Lord. Verse 17. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They practiced divination and sorcery and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking
Mm-hmm.
him to anger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them. Notice verse 22. The Israelites persisted. Did you notice? Not the kings. The Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
where are the where are the good people?
Where are the prophets, the priests? Yeah, no, they're
Well,
yeah.
the prophets and the
Seven.
priests were there. They said, don't do this. And the people said, we're going to
Yes.
do it anyway.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Chapter 17, and I'm going to stop with this. Now Elijah the Tishbite from Tishbe in Gilead said to Ahab, as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except at my word. And I want you to notice two things. When things are really bad, God chooses a man or a woman to stand up and say, this is what God says. And Elijah is going to deliver God's message to Ahab. So when you think things are bad, God is looking for you to stand up and to say, this is not okay. We're going to follow the Lord. I'm going to follow the Lord. Come with me. And if the people don't, that's okay too. But we're going to follow the Lord. Just because people are wicked doesn't mean we are passive. Okay? Second thing I want you to notice. As the Lord, the God of Israel lives, whom I serve. He's not interested in gaining popularity. He's interested in obedience. Then he makes a prophecy because he's a prophet. No rain and no dew. And we would say, well, you know, that's not that unusual. You know, there are times that it doesn't rain. In Israel, it rains fall and early spring, January, February, every year. The early rain and the later rain. And Elijah says, no rain, no dew, nothing. Okay. Now, if you are worshiping Baal, you go have sex with the prostitutes for Baal to send rain to your land and give you crops. And Elijah says, no sex for Baal, no sex for Asherah, nothing. I have to allow it. Elijah, can I have sex? Nope. God, no. How long is this going to last? Until I say so differently. No rain. no do, nothing. And then we will see who is God. Is it the God of Israel? Or is it the new God Baal? One last thing I want you to notice. Dolly, maybe you can help us. His name in Hebrew is Eliyahu. What does that mean?
Eli is my God.
My God? Yahu,
I don't know, not sure.
the Lord.
The Lord, okay.
My God
The
is
Lord.
the Lord. It's not my God is Baal. It's not Baal is God. It's not let's go do what we feel best. It's Eliyahu.
So Elijah is, so you're talking about Elijah.
Elijah.
Mm.
We've made his
His
Hebrew
name is
name an
Eliyahu, yeah,
English
yeah.
name.
In Hebrew, yeah, yeah. Yes,
Eli,
yes.
Yah.
Mm. So his
But in
parents must
Hebrew,
have been God-fearing people.
maybe that was not his birth name. I don't know.
So
Maybe, I don't know. I can't
he's
say.
known as, yeah, he's
But
known as Eliyahu. Yeah.
he's known as Eliyahu.
Mm.
My God is the Lord.
Yahweh,
And he's
yeah.
going to stand against a whole nation.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to stand against the government. He's going to stand against everybody. And did you notice why? As the Lord, the God of Israel lives, whom I serve. Do you remember what we talked about by Asa? God is looking for people whose heart is devoted to him. And when he finds them, he strengthens them. And that's what he does with Eliyahu. My God is the Lord. From now on, for the next couple of chapters, we're going to have a pause in the Kings. And we're going to talk about the relationship between Ahab and Eliyahu. Which God is God? Good. Let me stop here and then we will look at the rest next week. Okay.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
In my daily reading, I'm in Malachi now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you call it in English.
Malachi. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Malachi, and in chapter 4, and I was amazed because in verse 5 it says, "See, I will send you the prophet Elijah before that great and dreadful day of the Lord comes." So
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, so Elijah has a very, very significant, is a
Very
significant person
significant. Mm-hmm.
till the end, even before the day of the Lord. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
coming again, so to say.
Yeah.
Is
And
he the
did you
same
notice?
witness as the two
Pardon?
witnesses? Is this one of the witnesses in Revelation? The two
Maybe.
witnesses that are gonna, yeah, okay.
Maybe. Probably not.
No? Oh,
Probably not.
okay.
But did you notice what it said? Since you mentioned it in Malachi chapter 4, look at verse 6. You just read, he will
Yeah,
send you the
I
prophet Elijah.
close the place, yes.
But verse 6 is what he does. He will
Yes.
turn the hearts of their fathers to their children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers. He's going to bring about revival. He's going to bring them back to God. And that's what Eliyahu does. he brings about revival. And so from chapter 17 on through the end of Kings, it's going to be the story about how he brings about revival. Okay?
Israel, they always keep one chair, empty chair for
Yes.
Eliyahu.
They're waiting for Elijah.
So
They're
is it
waiting for
because of this
Eliyahu.
Malachi,
Mhm.
the
Yes, that's
Malachi?
right.
Mm.
Mhm. Did you know that he's also mentioned in James?
James?
Elijah is mentioned in James.
Okay.
And you know what it says there? He was a man like us. And he prayed, and it didn't rain for 3 years. And then he prayed again, and God sent rain.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a man of prayer. And that's why we should pray. Okay?